Continuing our conversation with our state treasurer, Ken Miller, about the state of the state, really, the state budget crisis nearing $900 million. And like I said, we had a lot of viewers chime in about this. Want to get to this question from Julie. I would like to know, how come we pay experts to estimate how much revenue will be coming into the state, and the estimate is so wrong? If I perform my job this poorly, I'd be fired. So how did we not see this? How did we not see this coming? Is kind of what she's asking.
Yeah, I think I would take a different view of that. I think that the folks that we have that are in the tax commission and outside, we have 2 private consultants as well as the tax commission working. I think if you look historically, they do a pretty good job of estimating the revenue. It's a difficult thing to do. I'm an economist by trade, and so I wouldn't want to be in their shoes to have to predict our revenues because they're very volatile. Our revenues are up and down, and especially in oil and gas-based economy, you really don't know what the price of oil is going to be because you don't know what's going to happen in the Middle East and elsewhere with supply and with demand. So it's very difficult, but if you look over time, they do an excellent job of estimating, and really the $600 million initial that was reported wasn't the estimate that they were giving out. It was the $900 million. So really, they more often than not, in fact, there's a pretty high percentage that we actually get the revenues estimated correctly, and in that 5% cushion that the Constitution that requires that we have.
Kind of margin of error there.
Yeah.
Even though we probably do need to diversify our economy a little bit because oil and gas is so unreliable with the market as it is right now. So our state relies pretty heavily on that.
Sure.
This one from Matt: why aren't they, referring to lawmakers, putting their pay on hold, canceling remodels of state property? We see that going on at the state capitol right now. He mentions MAPS 3 going on, and all the extra construction. Why aren't we putting all of that on hold, not pay our lawmakers until they figure all this stuff out? That could save a little bit of money.
Well, yeah, of course, when you look at a budget that's, north of $6 billion, the legislative salaries are a very small component, but it'd be a symbolic measure for sure. As far as, the MAPS 3, of course, that's a municipal issue, and the construction at the state capitol, I would argue, a 100-year-old building, that is our symbol of democracy. In my opinion, that building should be the grandest in the state because it represents something so special, which is representative democracy. And it's 100 years old. It needs a lot of work. And we have to remember that those people that are in there working are earning paychecks that is then churning through our economy. So I don't think we want to stop construction. We do want to spend smart, and we want to continually get better in our spend and our priorities and our efficiency. But I think some of the construction that is going on throughout our city and our state is a good thing.
I do feel for the people who chimed in that say, it's frustrating when I drive by and see this Capitol, and these people get to work in this huge, beautiful building where my kids, we can't even afford to pay our teachers. And so you kind of shedding some light on the situation might help people understand the scene a little bit. This one's from Mike, and we have got a lot of questions about education and teacher pay raises in our state. He says, with tax revenue continuing to fail, as you've mentioned, how do we keep from cutting public school funding, let alone giving our teachers a raise? I would like an explanation on just how taxes will be increased to pay for these raises, or are these statements about giving pay raises just politics? We've heard that this is still front and center. We know our teachers deserve better. They deserve more money. But is that just a political line,
Well, there's an awful lot of political rhetoric that does come out of the state capitol.
Absolutely.
I won't deny that. But I do believe that there's a renewed focus and interest to actually pay our teachers what they deserve. It's going to be very hard to do that. I think we have to realize that in a year when you're down almost $1 billion, $900 million budget gap, it's going to be very difficult to find the recurring funds to do that. We've had some proposals that have come in that frankly make 0 sense, which is to fund a teacher pay raise out of one-time sources. One proposal was even to take money out of the teachers' retirement fund to pay for a raise. That's crazy. That should not happen. We have to fund a recurring expenditure like a needed pay raise with a recurring revenue stream. It is going to be tough, but there are ways to do that. Last year, Governor Fallin proposed several, like we mentioned, the cigarette tax, expanding the sales tax into some services. You can also look at other measures. Some in the legislature are looking at gas taxes, specifically the diesel tax. So there are ways to do that, but we have got to modernize our state tax code because it reflects an economy that we don't have anymore. We're much more internet driven, we're much more services driven, but our tax code does not reflect that, and we have to change that, and that will take political courage.
Really quickly, we are running out of time. We had an interview about a soda tax. Would you support that?
Well, there's a lot of different measures. I'm not going to endorse one today over another. I think there's certainly ones that I favor, whether it's a soda tax. I don't know about that one, honestly. We've pretty much stayed away from the grocery taxes and touching and changing those. That's, to me, more of a political statement in some ways. And sure, we need to drink less soda. We need to smoke less cigarettes. Let's start with that one.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. State Treasurer Ken Miller, thank you so much for shedding some light on this situation. We'll be in touch with you because, as you said, we can do better. I like that statement. We'll be in touch with you,
Great.
and we wish you the best
Thanks,
as
Abby.
we begin this session. A lot of work to be done. 9:30.
you.
KSCO 5 News in the Morning continues after this.